Well, I've rested a bit and finally ate after 24 hours. I had a can of beef and an apple. I want to point out a law to you because some of you may think I'm smack talking. I'm not. You may have seen episodes of Judge Wapner or Judge Judy where she's adjudicating some case in which there's been a physical altercation and she's trying to, determine, the guilty party and how much the damages actually are. And I've seen quite a few of those, and they do bring up the equal force thing, but they don't point out that there's an exception to that rule. If you're into those gentlemanly Marquis of Queensberry rules kind of stuff, you're having a fist fight. When you close your fist, you're trying to preserve the other person's life. I've told you I fight open-handed. I fight dirty. Always have, especially when I'm the employee of a certain entity. Because I've never lost any of all of my first subscribers were 65 and older. I checked on all of my analytics. I've only actually lost one subscriber because that's when it dips below the zero mark, and otherwise it's climbed up. The subscriptions will slow down, then it'll go back up. But there's probably several subscribers I have out there that are physically disabled. And here's the law regarding equal force if you're disabled. Even if I come up against a man who's my size, if he attacks me, and actually even if it's a little tiny woman, I do not have to use equal force. Under the law, in Texas and around this country, except maybe in Massachusetts or something, a disabled person gets to use lethal force. If they have enough strength with their hands, they are free to strike the kind of lethal blow I've used many times and then watch the fucker die slowly. But be leery if you go around trying to bully somebody who's older. Age becomes a disability, a frailty, and it does not exempt. That's an exemption from the equal force law. You can't equal force. If it's a fist fight, you got to keep it the closed. Closed hand, fists, no weapons, no nothing. But if you're disabled, you can use any kind of weapon you want, and you may use lethal force on the first blow. You do not have to do anything to preserve your attacker's life because one blow from them might finish you off. That's the law. I'm going to do this as briefly as possible. Equal force laws do not apply to handicapped people. Absolutely not. My best friend's an attorney, criminal defender. My nephews are attorneys. I know this law really good. I also know the law about disabled people urinating in public. As long as you're trying to hide yourself from children, and you do, you get into a corner or you put your jacket over your lap or something like that, pee in your coffee cup. I've done it here a million times. And I've actually tested it in other states and stuff like that. Only once did somebody go carrying on me and call the cops. And all I did was pull out a photo ID impaired mobility card, cite him the law, and he backed right the fuck off. So I know the laws. I know the exemptions to the laws. And what I'm trying to get through in this less than 5 minutes here is that if you're a handicapped person in any way, if you have even one hand or one arm impaired, or you've had spinal or leg problems and stuff, you get to use lethal force on your first defense of yourself. If you're attacked, you're exempt from using any kind of equal force. You get to use lethal force. I've been delivering this lecture to disabled people all around this country for a long time. You know, it's been 20 years ago I was first went into a power wheelchair and began delivering this lecture that if you get close to me, I get to kill you. If you look like you're drunk and about to fall on me, I am going to stab your ass and make you fall away from me. Actually, I did it. You know, I had this drunk Viet Cong motherfucker that was constantly was about to fall right on me. And I not only kicked him in the nuts, I had one functioning leg, one functioning arm, kicked him in the nuts and stabbed him at the same time to make sure he went backwards and away from me because he wouldn't go away. He was totally just blasted out of his mind and shit. He had that instability. If you fall on me, you could really fuck me up. Any threat to my existence, I get to meet it with lethal force under the law. When the cops comes, just shut up and wait for an attorney. Don't ever talk to the cops. Just remember, if you're disabled, you are exempt from the equal force laws. Simple as that. They don't apply to us.